Reading from EVERNIGHT by Ross Mackenzie. Today's chapter is Into the Sewers, and it is the 18th chapter. Here, is it true what happened in Reaper Square? There was a dragon, so they say. Nah, I was there. It were 2 dragons. One of them ate a white witch. It was hags, must have been. I reckon they all done for. The narrow, twisting streets of the slums were crawling with gossip and chatter. It was always amazing to Lara how quick news passed amongst the slum folk. It was said if a cove farted, by the time word of it reached the other side of the slums, people would have decided what it had for dinner the night before. Great flocks of paper birds were flying this way and that, darting through the streets carrying messages and notes and hearsay about the incredible event. I seen it with my own eyes, Lara said, approaching a group of gossip merchants. I was there. I was. In the square. Tell us, they cried. We have to know. Are we under attack? Was it hags? Lara stroked her chin thoughtfully. My memory's suddenly gone a bit hazy. Must be the fright that's done it. I reckon a couple of coins might help bring it back. She gave them an innocent smile, and they grumbled and clubbed together to hand her a few bronze coins. Ah, now I remember. Lara wedged the end of her crowbar into the gap between the drain cover and the street. She leaned and leaned until, clank, the manhole cover popped out of the hole. Her legs dangled into the dark. She manoeuvred it to the side, sat at the edge of the hole, her legs dangling down into the dark, and listened with great concentration. She could tell by the sound of it that the stream was still moving rapidly, still bubbling and foaming, but the level had dropped. It was nothing she couldn't handle, so long as she kept her head in the game, made sure to watch every step. She stared down into the darkness, and her heart fluttered in her chest. Thoughts of the sewer strangler came into her mind, of a man with no shadow creeping in the tunnels, waiting to pounce. For the briefest of moments she wondered if she should hold off from entering the sewers until the attacks had stopped. But she swatted the notion away like a fly, angry with herself for ever thinking it. With a final look around, she climbed into the hole, her feet steady on the rungs of the ladder, and began her descent. Before she disappeared from the world above ground, Lara reached up with her metal bar and levered the cover back over the sewer entrance. She had done this countless times, and on each occasion there was a moment, right before the cover dropped into place, when the last of the daylight would flare like a diamond on a ring, and the sight of it would make Lara's heart race, and she would ask the question, will that be the last time I ever see the sun? After that, there was a clunk of the cover dropping into place, and darkness. At the foot of the ladder, deep beneath the streets, Lara reached into her toshing bag and brought out the new dragon breath lamp that Joe had bought her. She turned the dial on the bottom of the brass lamp, and a brief flicker of flame jumped to life behind the glass, casting golden light around the sewer tunnels. Most people shivered at the thought of going down into the guts of the city, amongst the filth and the stench, the rats and sewer creatures, the bodies. But Lara looked around now, at the light shining on the smooth tunnel bricks, catching the rippling surface of the water. She listened to the gurgling song of the sewer stream, and she smiled, because this was her world, her patch, and who knew what treasures it might give up today. The smell isn't too bad today, Lara thought as she sloshed through the splendid gloom. Some days, usually during the heat of the summer when the river was low and the sewers didn't get flushed through with rain as often, the stench was so thick you could almost see it, and it was slick and oily on your skin. But today, after the downpour and the high tides, the tunnels seemed shiny and new. In fact, Lara would wager they were a great deal cleaner than some of the streets above. Every tosher had their favourite spots, parts of the sewer where they knew the brick was cracked and worn, or the channel was shaped in such a way that small heavy things would gather and become wedged. Lara had several of these spots. Snapleg Corner had been a corker, because there was a sweet section that nobody else seemed to know, a joint beneath the water where she'd frequently found coins. Problem was, half a moon back, Snapleg Corner had filled with noxious gas, and along had come a tosher with his dragon breath lamp, and the naked flame had met the gas, and boom! No more Snapleg Corner, no more tosher either. So Lara settled today on Blood River. Blood River was a short passage of sewer on the south side of the river. It was known by that name because it was directly under a slaughterhouse, and when you hosed the blood off the ground, it would flow down the drain and empty into the sewer stream, dyeing it red. As Lara walked, she kept her ears and eyes on full alert. Gas pockets were only the beginning of the dangers that lurked beneath the city. There were places where the current could wash you clean away. Every tosher knew the times of the high tide like clockwork, and they'd scurry back to the streets before the river gates were opened and the sewers flushed. There were stories of strange sewer dwellers too, creatures that hid out of sight and would see a tosher and take the chance of a good meal. Somewhere nearby, a scurry of rats crossed the stream and scratched and sniffed away down another sewer, causing Lara's thoughts to drift back a few days to her confrontation with Cotton and the way the rats had helped her escape. She took out her locket, holding it in her palm, allowing the light from her lamp to slide around the smooth edge and catch the etching of the bird. She gave the locket a shake, but it remained still. She was becoming convinced now that she had unwittingly stumbled into spilled magic in the sewers, and that her locket had come to life for a short time because of it. Now the magic must have worn off, so all was back to normal. There was plenty of flushed-away magic in the sewers, after all. Alfie Button, they said, had been toshing when a cocktail of spells had rushed past, engulfing him in a cloud of magic and shrinking him until he was no bigger than a field mouse. Poor Alfie had met his end when his neighbour's cat had spotted him one day and decided he looked quite tasty. Then there was Peg Leggett, who'd fallen into a glowing pool and turned to stone. She was still down there now, under Admiral Street, and any tosher who passed her would pat her head for good luck. Yes, sir, danger was everywhere down here. And don't forget the sewer strangler, Lara's brain told her. Least I have the advantage, she argued back. Down here, this is my world, not his. But she could not quite shake away the fear, and she was cross at herself for that. The sound of sloshing feet ahead slowed her. She extinguished her lamp and ducked into the shadow, straining to listen. Reaching into her wax bag, she brought out her crowbar and raised it above her head, ready to bring it crashing down. "Laura, that you?" The glow of another lamp emerged from the darkness, and with it the friendly, freckled face of Joe Littlefoot. Lara breathed again, lowered the bar, and laughed at herself for panicking so. "It's me, right, Joe? How you doing? Any luck?" Joe flashed a smile. "I should say so." He brought the toshing bag down from his shoulder, opened it, and Lara looked inside and saw 2 silver coins, 3 copper ones, and a shiny earring with a stone missing, and a glass eye. "Hell's teeth, Joe! Leave something for the rest of us." "I tell you, Lara, I've never known a spell of good luck such as this. I'm heading down Old Han's shop now. I reckon I'll eat for a week off this catch." He turned serious then. "You haven't seen anyone lurking around in the shadows, have you? I keep imagining the strangler will jump out at me any second." "I do too, but I haven't seen nothing yet." Lara gripped the crowbar and swung it a few times. "I'm ready for him, though." Joe stared up at her with a sparkling sort of awe in his eyes, as if he was gazing at an otherworldly being. "I reckon it's the strangler who who has to watch out with you in these tunnels. Happy toshing, Lara." And off he went, whistling at his own good fortune. When Lara reached Blood River, the water was the murky brown of cloudy ale, but the air was free of the iron smell of slaughterhouse blood. She went right to work, checking her favourite spots, her slim fingers probing cracks in the brickwork under the stream. The first try turned up nothing, the second, too. And when her fingers felt around on the third, she touched something hard and cold and small, and her heart gave a leap. She worked the object loose, brought it out from the stream, and held it up to the light. A coin. Copper. But better than nothing. A fine start to the day. It turned out there was nothing more to be found in Blood River, so Lara set off for the tunnels deeper down below the earth, trudging through the rushing stream in her wax-coated boots towards other lucky locations she'd filed away in her memory. Alas, today was not to be her day. She found nothing else. After several hours, her fingers were sore and raw, and it was almost time for high tide anyway. So she circled around and made her way back to the entrance beneath Bone Alley, a lonely copper coin in her toshing bag. She had hoped for more, for sure, but that coin would help feed her for a day or two. Lara was ready to climb to the surface when her eyes made a grim discovery. At the edge of the lamplight, a pair of small, awkwardly sprawled Tosha's feet came into view. The sight stopped Lara dead. She held the lamp up, squinting into the gloom. Her heart picked up pace and her breathing hushed and ragged. She crept closer, the light from the lamp overcovering more of the little body. Uncovering. Most of him was soaked with sewer water, as if he'd been in the stream and dragged himself out, and the lamplight fell on the Tosha's face. Lara gasped. "Joe!" She dashed to his side and leaned over him, sliding her face beside his head, trying to shake him awake. His face was swollen badly, one eye puffed shut, his nose covered in dried blood. She listened close. He was breathing steadily. "Joe! Wake up, Joe!" A groan started deep in his chest, rumbling up his throat, and he opened his mouth to let it out, sending it echoing through the tunnel. He opened his good eye. "Lara?" "It's me, Joe. You're all right. You'll be all right, Joe." It appeared that Joe was in a dream of sorts, and then when he seemed to awaken, he became agitated, and he sat up, and he winced in pain and began feeling around on the sewer floor. "Take it easy, Joe. My stuff," he managed. "My toshing bag." Lara helped him over to the sewer wall, where he leaned against the smooth bricks. "What happened, Joe? Who did this to you?" Joe looked up at her, the fear spilling from his eyes. "The sewer strangler, Lara. That's true what they say. He don't have no shadow. At first I thought he was after my haul. He took my toshing bag and he rummaged through it. But he wasn't interested in any of it. He chucked it all in the stream. And then he came towards me again and, oh, Lara, he started laying into me. 'Where's the box?' he said again and again, every time he hit me. 'Where's the box?'" Lara's veins were on fire with anger and with fear for Joe. "How'd you get away, Joe?" A tear trickled down Joe's face, mixed with the fresh blood from his nose. "I just lay still," he said, his eyes far away. "Tried to go limp, like I was dead. He threw me about for a while, and then a look of surprise crossed his face. It was the strangest thing. His eyes went all wide, and the air around him swirled and blurred, and he disappeared." Lara looked at Joe from head to foot. As bloody and battered as he was, there didn't seem to be anything immediately life-threatening about his injuries. He tried to get up again. "My stuff! I need to find my stuff. I need to look after Granny." Lara pushed him back down again. "Sit tight, Joe. Keep still. I'll look for your catch." She found Joe's dragon breath lamp nearby, and she lit it and placed it on his side, and then she went off into the stream. His toshing bag wasn't far away, weighed down by the metal crowbar. She opened the drawstring and looked inside, finding no trace of the treasure Joe had uncovered on his toshing route that morning. So she took to the stream and began the search. combing every part of it with her fingers. She found nothing. "Sorry, Joe, looks like it's long gone." She saw the disappointment in his face, and she felt so sorry for him that she reached into her own toshing bag and brought out the copper coin she'd found, and then into her pocket for the coins the coves on the street had given her for recounting the events in Reaper Square. She slipped the coins into Joe's bag, then pretended to have one last rummage. "Hold up, Joe, I was wrong. Looks like you missed something." She brought out her copper coins and handed them over. "It's not much, but it's better than a kick in the teeth, so to speak." Joe took the coins and gave her a wincing smile. "You've always looked after me, Lara. Always." "Don't get soft now," she said, helping him to his feet. All the time she was looking about, checking the shadows, listening. She was ablaze with anger now, shaking. And as they staggered through the sewer together, Lara felt the locket buzz against her chest again, felt the warmth spill from it, and her head was filled with the sound of crystal voices and the visions of the witch boy and the gallows in Reaper Square, and the hags on the roof, and the dragon made of fire.